I've been hiding a secret for 10 years. 10 long years of careful lies, hidden truths, and pretending nothing was wrong. And now, I know the truth is worse than anyone could imagine. Every day I've lived with this secret has been a balancing act. One misstep could ruin everything I've built, everything I care about, and everyone I love. It didn't start out this way. When the secret first formed, it seemed small, manageable, even forgivable. But over time, it grew, consuming me, shaping my life, and forcing me to live behind a mask that no one could ever see through. The more I tried to bury it, the more it demanded to be noticed. I can still remember the first time I realized I had to hide it. The fear that someone would discover, the guilt that clawed at me, the rush of adrenaline that came with every close call. It was intoxicating, terrifying, and addictive all at once. And from that moment, I became a master of concealment. Years passed, and the secret followed me everywhere. It influenced my choices, my relationships, my friendships, even the person I pretended to be every day. I crafted stories, excuses, and distractions, convincing others, and sometimes myself, that everything was normal. But underneath, I was living a lie. It wasn't always easy. There were nights I stayed awake, heart pounding, imagining someone finding out, imagining the shock, the disappointment, the judgment. Those nights left me breathless and exhausted. But somehow, I survived each time, carefully dodging suspicion and hiding my guilt behind smiles and casual conversation. Over the years, I became skilled at control. Every word, every gesture, every glance was calculated. I learned how to steer conversations, how to redirect attention, how to prevent anyone from discovering the truth. And with each success, my confidence grew. And so did the audacity of my secret. And yet, it wasn't just about protecting myself. Hiding this secret changed the way I saw the world. I became hyper-aware, always analyzing, always predicting, always one step ahead. I learned to read subtle cues, to sense suspicion before it happened, and to respond instantly to prevent it from growing. My life became a delicate balance between exposure and concealment. But the tension of hiding something for so long began to take its toll. I could feel it in small moments, the panic that rose when someone asked a simple question, the relief when a lie went unnoticed, the anxiety that accompanied every minor interaction. And beneath it all, a voice whispered that the truth could never stay buried forever. That voice grew louder with each passing year, until finally I realized I couldn't ignore it anymore. Something had to give. Either the secret would stay buried and continue to shape my life in silence, or it would be exposed, and everything would change forever. And then it happened. The moment that made me realize the secret wasn't just mine to carry anymore. I made a careless mistake, a small slip in judgment, and suddenly, someone was looking closer, noticing things they hadn't before. The carefully constructed walls I had built around my life started to crack. The fear, the thrill, the adrenaline, it all came rushing back, stronger than ever. Every instinct screamed at me to cover it up, to redirect, to distract, to survive, but the truth was moving faster than I could contain it, and I realized that the game I had played for a decade was about to reach its breaking point. Every day since that moment, I've been walking a tightrope. One misstep could destroy the life I've worked so hard to maintain. One revelation, one question, one careless glance could unravel everything. And yet, I can't stop. Because living with this secret has become part of who I am, part of my identity, part of the adrenaline that makes me feel alive. I don't even know if I can fully explain why I kept it for so long. Was it fear? Was it shame? Was it the thrill of knowing something no one else did? Or was it a combination of all of these things? All I know is that it has haunted me, controlled me, and shaped me in ways I never imagined. And now, after 10 years, the pressure is building. The cracks are widening. The secret is no longer just mine to protect. It has begun to demand attention, to threaten exposure, to demand resolution. And I know that soon, the truth will come out, whether I am ready or not. If you find this story good, please like and subscribe our channel. It's free for you, but helps us a lot to keep sharing real stories like this. The stage is set. 10 years of hiding, one growing crack, and a truth that's worse than anyone could imagine. The question is, will I survive the revelation, or will it destroy everything? Living with this secret for 10 years had already changed me, but now the pressure was suffocating. Every small interaction felt like a minefield. Every conversation, every smile, every casual glance had to be filtered through the lens of concealment. The tiniest slip could blow everything wide open. I became hyper-aware of people around me. Friends, family, even strangers. I analyzed every word, every gesture, every pause. Sometimes it felt exhausting, like I was constantly performing a role I didn't fully understand anymore. And yet, the thought of being exposed sent a shiver down my spine. I couldn't afford to falter, not even for a second. The first real close call came unexpectedly. I had been so careful, so certain that no one suspected a thing. But one day, a small comment, innocent, casual, triggered suspicion in someone close to me. Their eyes lingered a little too long. Their tone carried a question that I hadn't anticipated. And for a moment, I felt panic rise like a tidal wave. I froze. My mind raced through all the possible ways to redirect the conversation, to cover the slip, to ensure the secret remained hidden. Every word had to be precise, every laugh timed, every gesture controlled. One wrong move, and the past 10 years could unravel in an instant. After that moment, I realized just how fragile my control really was. I started double-checking everything: texts, emails, social media, even small comments made in passing. Every interaction became a potential threat, a puzzle I had to solve before anyone noticed. The pressure was constant, and it weighed heavily on me, even in moments of supposed calm. Despite the fear, part of me was addicted to the tension. The constant balancing act, the adrenaline of almost being discovered, made life feel more intense. It was dangerous, yes, but it also gave me a strange sense of power. I was holding something no one else could touch or control. I was the only one who knew the full story, the full truth, and that knowledge was intoxicating. But with every close call, I also felt guilt. Tiny, almost invisible, but persistent. I thought about the people I could hurt if the secret came out. The friends I had lied to, the family I had misled, the trust I had broken in ways I hadn't fully admitted to myself. And yet, I couldn't stop. 10 years had taught me that once a secret this big takes root, it doesn't leave easily. Then came the second close call. A minor misunderstanding, an accidental comment, and someone nearly pieced things together. I remember the panic, the heart racing, the shallow breath, the desperate need to redirect, to distract, to survive. For a moment, I felt like a criminal caught in the act, except the crime was invisible, and the evidence was only in my mind. That night, lying awake, I reflected on how much my secret had taken over my life. Every decision, every habit, every relationship had been influenced by the need to conceal. Even moments of happiness were tinged with fear, because I knew that at any second, everything could collapse. And yet, somehow, the secret persisted. Somehow, I was still surviving. Over time, I started noticing patterns in my own behavior. I had become cautious in ways that weren't natural, avoiding certain topics, steering conversations, subtly testing the reactions of others. My world had shrunk in subtle ways, all to keep the secret intact. It wasn't a life I had chosen, exactly. It was a life forced by the demands of something I couldn't share. And yet, even in the midst of stress and fear, there was a strange comfort in the control. I had survived 10 years with this secret. I had evaded suspicion, avoided disaster, and kept my life intact. That knowledge gave me confidence, and sometimes, dangerously, it gave me boldness. I began testing limits, seeing how close I could get to being discovered without consequences. That boldness led to moments that were thrilling but terrifying. The adrenaline rush when someone came close to knowing the truth became addictive. I started to live for the tension, for the delicate balance between exposure and concealment. It was dangerous, yes, but it also made life feel alive in a way nothing else could. And yet, I knew the danger was real. One day, one careless word, one misstep, could destroy everything. The past 10 years had been a careful dance, and I was constantly aware that the rhythm could break at any moment. The secret was like a living thing, demanding attention, threatening exposure, and shaping my life in ways I hadn't anticipated. As the days passed, I realized something else. The secret wasn't just mine anymore. Even accidentally, it had begun to influence others, and their curiosity, suspicion, or intuition could unravel it all. The weight of that knowledge was crushing, but it also forced me to stay sharp, to stay clever, and to stay alive in a world where every interaction could be a threat. The tension became unbearable at times, but the secret remained, gnawing at me, demanding control, and shaping the person I had become. 10 years of concealment had changed me, but now the walls were cracking, the danger growing, and I knew that soon, the ultimate test of my secret would come. The cracks were getting bigger. Every day, every interaction, every casual comment could be the moment my secret finally came to light. I had spent 10 years hiding it, but now, for the first time, I felt the walls around my lie beginning to crumble. It started small, a friend asking a question I hadn't expected, a subtle glance that lingered too long, a remark that carried unintended weight. My heart would race every time, and I learned quickly to mask my panic with a smile. But inside, fear roared. This was the closest anyone had come in a decade. I began to realize that hiding a secret for so long didn't just make me careful. It made me paranoid. Every casual interaction had the potential to reveal everything. I replayed conversations in my mind, tested every word, calculated every gesture. I couldn't relax. Even a minor slip could unravel 10 years of careful concealment. And then it happened, the first real brush with exposure. I was talking to someone I trusted, someone I thought would never suspect a thing. But a single question, innocent on the surface, hit too close to home. My mind raced. I had to deflect, to redirect, to keep my carefully guarded secret safe. One wrong word, one misplaced glance, one hesitation, and everything would be exposed. I smiled, laughed, nodded, even joked. I told myself it was normal, nothing to worry about. But inside, panic surged like fire. My hands trembled slightly, my pulse pounded, and I was acutely aware of every small sound around me. I could feel the truth threatening to slip out, but somehow, I held it in. That close call changed everything. After it, I became even more cautious, more calculated, more aware of the tiniest details. I avoided certain people, certain topics, and even certain rooms at times. Every day became a balancing act between living normally and protecting a secret that could destroy me if discovered. The tension was addictive. The closer I came to being exposed, the more alive I felt. Every subtle glance, every hidden emotion, every carefully managed word carried weight. I realized that fear and excitement were intertwined, and that the thrill of almost being caught had become something I craved. Yet even as I grew bolder in some ways, the fear never disappeared. Every sound, every unexpected arrival, every lingering question was a reminder that 10 years of secrecy could vanish in an instant. I was walking on a knife's edge, and I knew it. Then came the night I almost lost control completely. I was alone with someone who knew just enough to make me nervous. A casual comment, an offhand question, and suddenly my carefully constructed lie felt fragile, ready to shatter. I could feel the tension in my chest, the adrenaline in my veins, the desperation to keep everything hidden. I paused, calculated, and managed to steer the conversation away. My hands shook, my breath was shallow, and I realized how dangerous the situation had become. I couldn't keep living like this. The thrill, the secrecy, the near misses, they were consuming me, shaping my every thought, and making my life a constant risk. From that moment, I knew the secret had begun to take on a life of its own. It wasn't just mine anymore, it was a presence, a force that influenced my every decision, every interaction, and every choice. And no matter how careful I was, I could feel it pressing, demanding, threatening exposure. The fear of being caught was now constant. Every smile I gave felt measured, every laugh controlled, every conversation monitored. I was living in a delicate balance, a game of shadows, where one misstep could destroy 10 years of careful concealment. And yet, I couldn't escape the grip of my own secret. The thrill, the tension, the danger, it had become addictive. I was aware of the risk, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, couldn't stop navigating the minefield I had created for myself. It was a habit, a force, a shadow that refused to let me go. I knew deep down that the ultimate test was coming. Someone would notice, someone would dig deeper. And when that happened, I would have to face the consequences of a decade-long lie. I could no longer pretend that I was untouchable. The cracks had appeared, and it was only a matter of time before they grew wide enough to reveal everything. The tension had reached a breaking point. Every day, every interaction, every glance felt like walking on a tightrope above a pit. 10 years of hiding had taught me precision, calculation, and patience. But it had also made me exhausted, paranoid, and increasingly reckless. It started with small signs, questions that lingered too long, subtle glances that felt like investigations, whispered conversations that I wasn't part of, but that made my stomach twist. I could feel people circling closer, sensing something off, and I knew it was only a matter of time before they discovered the truth. One afternoon, it happened. A casual comment from someone I trusted triggered an instinctive panic in me. My mind raced, trying to think of a way to redirect, to deflect, to protect the secret I had nurtured for a decade. Every second felt stretched, like the world had slowed down, waiting for the moment of discovery. My heart was pounding. I smiled, laughed, and responded carefully, keeping my voice calm, my expressions neutral. Every micro-movement was deliberate, every word carefully weighed. I was acting like my life depended on it, because it did. 10 years of careful concealment could vanish in a heartbeat. After that near miss, I realized the stakes had risen. This was no longer about thrill or secrecy. It was about survival. Every interaction was now a potential disaster, and every choice carried weight. I had to be sharper, faster, more cunning than ever before. But the secret wasn't just a burden. It had become part of who I was. It shaped my thoughts, my habits, my emotions. I had been living this double life for so long that the thrill and the fear were intertwined with my very identity. And now, with the cracks widening, I felt both terrified and alive in a way I couldn't describe. That night, lying awake, I reflected on how dangerously close I had come to being exposed. I could still feel the adrenaline coursing through my veins, the fear lingering in my chest. And yet, there was a strange satisfaction in knowing I had survived another close call. The secret had won again, but barely. From that point on, I became even more careful. I scrutinized every word I said, every gesture I made, every interaction I had. I avoided situations that could raise suspicion. I learned to sense tension before it arose, to predict questions before they were asked. I had become a master of anticipation, but it came at a cost. The cost was constant anxiety, sleepless nights, and a sense that I could never truly relax. Even when everything seemed normal, I was always calculating, always preparing, always aware that one slip could end everything. And yet, the addiction to the secret, the thrill of almost being caught, refused to leave me. There were moments of temptation too, moments where the secrecy itself became irresistible. The fear of being discovered made every interaction more intense, every small victory more exhilarating. I realized that part of me craved the tension, the danger, and the forbidden knowledge that I held. But the danger was real. One day, someone would discover it. One mistake, one careless word, one unplanned observation, and 10 years of lies could be exposed. And when that day came, I knew there would be consequences I had tried to imagine but could never fully prepare for. The secret had become a living thing, shaping my life in ways I hadn't foreseen. It had given me excitement, fear, and control, but it had also isolated me, worn me down, and made me feel alone. 10 years of hiding had taught me survival, but it had also shown me how fragile that survival really was. And yet, despite everything, I couldn't let go. The secret was addictive. It was a part of me, a force that demanded attention, that demanded cunning, that demanded constant vigilance. I had survived 10 years by being careful, but I knew the real test was coming, and I wasn't sure I would pass it. The stage was set. The walls around my secret were cracking. The people around me were noticing, questioning, sensing, and I was running out of time, running out of options, and running out of the ability to control it all. After 10 years, the pressure became unbearable. The cracks I had tried to hide for so long were widening, and I knew it was only a matter of time before my secret came crashing into the light. Every day, every interaction, every moment of calm was a reminder that the truth had power over me, and soon that power would be revealed. The moment finally came unexpectedly. Someone I trusted had noticed inconsistencies, subtle things that didn't add up. Their questions were casual at first, almost innocent, but I could feel them probing deeper, reaching for the truth I had guarded for a decade. My heart pounded, my palms were sweaty, and for a fleeting moment, I imagined everything falling apart. I realized then that hiding the secret for so long had taught me two things: how to survive, and how much I was willing to risk for self-preservation. But it had also taught me that some truths cannot remain buried forever. Sooner or later, they demand to be faced, confessed, or owned. And I knew that moment had come. I took a deep breath, steeling myself, and began to confess. Not to everyone, not to the world, but to the person who had unknowingly edged close to discovering it. The words were heavy, trembling at first, but with each sentence, a strange relief washed over me. 10 years of concealment, fear, and tension were spilling out, and though it was terrifying, it also felt necessary. I explained why I had hidden it, why I had been so careful, and how it had shaped my life in ways I could never have anticipated. I didn't justify my actions, they were my responsibility, but I offered the truth as fully as I could. And for the first time in a decade, I felt the weight lift slightly, as though confessing had peeled away some of the darkness that had followed me for so long. Even after the confession, the consequences were real. Trust had been tested, relationships strained, and questions lingered. But there was also a strange sense of liberation. The secret no longer controlled me. I had taken control by admitting it. The tension, the fear, and the constant need for vigilance were gone, or at least they had begun to fade. Reflecting on the past 10 years, I realized how much the secret had shaped me. It had made me cautious, cunning, and hyper-aware. It had brought fear, excitement, and a strange kind of thrill. But it had also isolated me, burdened me, and haunted me in ways I could never have imagined when it all began. I learned that keeping a secret may feel necessary, even protective, but it comes with a cost. It shapes your thoughts, your behavior, your relationships, and the longer you carry it, the heavier the burden becomes. Truth, no matter how difficult, has a way of demanding release. Now, after 10 years, I'm living differently. I'm learning to rebuild trust, to be honest even when it's hard, and to confront the consequences of my choices without hiding behind lies. The secret no longer defines me. It is a lesson, a warning, and a part of my history that I cannot erase, but that I can understand. I also know that life is fragile, and that trust is precious. No secret, no matter how small it seems at first, should be allowed to grow unchecked for years, because eventually it demands attention, and when it does, it can either break you or teach you how to survive with integrity. And so, I continue forward, mindful of the past, aware of the present, and determined not to let secrecy dominate my life again. The secret that haunted me for 10 years is no longer hidden, but I have survived, and I have learned. If you find this story good, please like and subscribe our channel. It's free for you, but helps us a lot to keep sharing real stories